Hello. Well, first of all, I would like to define the low vision population. This population is defined as a bilateral vision impairment that cannot be corrected by corrective lenses, medication, or surgery. For reimbursement purposes, a visual impairment diagnosis is based on visual acuity and visual field that ranges from 20 to 70 acuity to total blindness, or visual field that is less than 20% or less. Even so, occupational therapists do not specialize in visual rehabilitation. They often encounter lower vision conditions as complications in clients with other non-functional impairments and medical conditions. Occupational therapists should have supervision and specialized training to recommend and train clients in the use of their prescribed low vision aids. It is very important to address such visual foundation skills like acuity, visual fields, and oculomotor function, and visual processing or cognitive deficits, such as unilateral neglect, before addressing other functional skills. The goal of occupational therapy in working with individuals with visual impairment is to maximize the individual's use of his or her remaining vision in order to be able to complete occupations of choice. Occupational therapy interventions often includes visual skills training, environment adaptations, lighting and contrast, magnification, compensatory techniques such as sensory substitution, auditory and tactile strategies. Organizational strategies also a good tactics for occupational therapy, and client and family education. There are three general classes within the low vision population. There are age-related vision deficits such as macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, and cataracts, and neurologic vision deficits that are either oculomotor in nature or brain damage related. There are convergence insufficiency, accommodative deficits, perceived and saccades deficits, fixation inability, strabismus, and diplopia. A separate category of low vision deficits is called unilateral neglect, which occurs in about 23% of clients after CVA, and accounts for inability to react and orient to stimuli presented contralateral of the brain lesion. And that's all I wanted to say about client populations.
My name is Sean, and I'm going to be talking about the occupational needs based on the OTPF. Low vision disorders are going to impact just about every area of occupation, and it really depends on the specific low vision disorder and the stage of progression for that disorder. Again, it can impact multiple areas such as ADLs, IADLs, work, play, leisure, social participation. And I'm just going to discuss a few of specifics and examples. With ADLs, visual acuity is quite important for basic activities such as dressing, bathing, eating can be difficult. Medication management, which is an IADL, can also be difficult just because with low vision it might be difficult to read labels and determine the medication that you're using. Functional mobility, which is an ADL, can be impacted. It's tough to move about one's home environment or an environment that might not be familiar to them because we're so impacted by our vision. Work-related tasks can be difficult to complete just again because of visual acuity. Some jobs require the ability to drive. Let's see what else. Difficulty reading, typing, using the telephone if the numbers are not big enough. Play and leisure can be impacted. A lot of things people enjoy to do. Examples such as reading, watching TV, playing games. Limited vision can absolutely impact your ability to do that. Reading would be, some of the small print could be tough to read. Social participation, for example, if you're going to a restaurant with friends, you might not be able to recognize faces for everybody, which can be humiliating for an individual, and the ability to read a menu might be difficult as well. And this kit helps, this group intervention allows clients to create a useful toolkit that can be used with a multitude of different activities. The kit involves a lot of general tools that can be used across a number of different activities.
Okay, I'm going to talk about how we're going to apply the model of human occupation, also known as MOHO, to our group intervention. So the model of human occupation is a widely practiced and well-researched model of occupational therapy. It's commonly used in everyday practice. So the use of MOHO bases intervention on how an occupation is motivated, also called volition, how it is patterned, and how it is performed. So MOHO is an effective framework to base our group intervention on, because it will target the group's motivation to participate in everyday activities. It will teach adaptations and new performance patterns in order to help the individuals fully participate in those activities, and it will provide skills to make those changes a habit in their everyday lives. An article by Sine Dutoit describes that enabling occupation and independence through occupational therapy is like unlocking human potential through the participation of ordinary people in everyday meaningful occupation. So when an individual experiences occupational deprivation, this can often lead to internalized feelings of negative value, self-capacity, and self-worth. When individuals are unable to meet their own basic needs through daily occupations, then they may consider the pleasure and satisfaction of doing irrelevant. So just applying the model, or this frame of reference, will help our group intervention be more successful.
Okay, and I'm going to talk about how evidence supports the group intervention. So the first thing I found was a variety of studies pointed out how low vision impairs quality of life. And there was a study that said those with a significant vision loss have a 53% decrease in quality of life, which is equivalent to someone having a stroke. While those with a mild vision loss have a 17% decrease in quality of life. So it's obviously something that very much impacts people's lives. There can be a loss of independence due to decreased ability to continue with previous activities such as reading, writing, and driving. Studies also found that those with low vision had an increased number of falls and injuries. And the evidence that supports interventions, there are studies showing that training on low vision resources and devices can help improve people's independence and overcome the vision loss. Utilizing tools to compensate for low vision was another focus of the evidence. For example, reducing glare by putting shades up on windows and over light bulbs, increasing contrast, using different colors on the color wheel, so black, white, can help identify objects easier. Using a flashlight next to the bed at night or in low light situations, tape on the edge of stairways can identify edges. And then helping people to rely more on different senses, so not just vision, but like your tactile sense. So for example, putting safety pins on different types of clothing, or puff paint of different number of dots on different buttons that you use often was another thing in the that was suggested in the articles I found. And then finally, the support for group therapy for low vision population, sorry. Group therapy provides an opportunity to share resources. It's a social support system for one another. Members can ask questions of one another to help you think of things that you might not have thought of. It was found that support groups can increase connection with others and raised the quality of life based on decreased feelings of isolation that came from low vision. The groups came up with an increased ability to participate in community activities. People felt more empowered to be able to go use the resources they were finding in groups to go out in the community and use those. One study found that 5 out of 6 people would recommend a low vision group to a friend. And then also home safety assessments were part of finding out about things such as home safety assessments at groups like that was an important part for people. So.